up. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us with Conversations with Ladies Who Launch. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of chatting to Clare Wood, Money Mentor. I'm only new to her work, so I'm super excited to chat to you, Clare. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And you were recommended, it was one of my mentors, the beautiful Tash Corbin, who recommended that I chat to you. And so I'm super excited because anyone who Tash recommends, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah, Tash and I actually met at Denise Duffield Thomas's retreat. So we both met down at the Rose Farm, and she's just, so lovely, as you know. So it was really fun experience.
Oh, cool. Awesome. I met with Tash, like we did one of her Lady Posse catch-ups, meetups, like the day after you guys did that retreat. So I feel like I not was there. That's a bit too far-fetched. But like I remember the vibe that she had afterwards, and it sounds like it was such a cool time. I'd love to get to the Rose Farm one day.
Make sure you do it. Make sure you do it. It's so cool.
Okay, so question number one, I would love for you to introduce yourself the way you would love to hear your clients talking about you. What would you love to say?
So I know that my clients say about me that I help them to make more money. And that's kind of, I guess, what I'm known for. That's why I call myself a money mentor. Is my whole jam is empowering other people to make more money in their business. And so obviously the way that I do that is through helping them to unpick their money blocks, their money stories. And also I kind of weave it. So my background is I'm an accountant. So I actually weave it in with all the practical side of money. So it's not just the mindset side. I really am like, okay, let's set your budgets. Let's really get in. Let's map out how we're going to invest in your business to achieve the growth that you want. So that's kind of my jam. And, I'm really passionate too about helping people to do it in a way that works for them. So I don't kind of have this cookie cutter, it's not like you've got to launch courses or you have to do, like, I very much empower my clients to do it in a way that feels good for them. So that's kind of what I'm all about as well. And it's really about, like, you don't have to be working all the hours. You don't have to be doing all the things, like what works for you.
That is so good. I feel like you skip so much heartache if you just do it the way that works for you in the beginning.
Yeah, but I guess the thing is too is that what I find is that a lot of people don't feel empowered to do things their own way. And as much as a coach, I love to get people uncomfortable, because obviously if they keep doing the same thing, but there's a difference between discomfort and doing things in a misaligned way. And I know for me that every time I've been trying to like do things this way because everyone does it that way, and then I just end up burnt out, resenting it, not enjoying it. And when I do things in a way that works for me, that's flowy, easy, fun, I make money. Right? So that's what I'm empowering other people to do. But it's also not to be confused with not taking action or not doing scary things.
I'm aligned. I'm waiting for everything to come to me, and now I'm going to enjoy my life but not even run a business.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yes, it's finding that delicate balance. And it's a bit the same with the money stuff, like my whole thing is like mindset and money management. And I think if people get too caught up in money management, if they're like in their spreadsheets and obsessed and like it doesn't stack up, and I'm like, whoa, like chill out, like you've got to step a bit more into the faith and the money mindset side. But equally for me, I'm like, if you're not actually keeping an eye on the money that you're earning, then you're still going to feel broke. So I think it's the really beautiful, delicate balance between the two that I empower people to lean into. Yeah.
So good. And I love the empowering stuff, because I know that with my first couple of mentors, nothing to do with them, but I was like, what should I do next? What should I do next? What should I do next? And it's taken a while for me to build that confidence to go, what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
So,
no, I love that.
And so why was it that you first started your business? Like what's your story in terms of starting your business?
Yeah. So I only started my business later in life, about 6 years ago. And but I always knew, you know, people say I always knew, like I always knew I was meant to run my own business. And I remember I'd meet people, like anyone would run any sort of business, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, tell me all about it. And I'd like, I want to help everyone and with their business. I remember once I worked in a toy shop and she ran a small business. I'd be like, you know, what's your profit line on this? And you know, how much margin do you need to? And she was like, I don't really know. I just sell toys. And I was always trying to really, you know, get everyone excited about their business. And I remember that I was traveling, I was in Croatia, and this guy that I traveled with, he'd disappear. Every time after lunch, we'd all be like sunbaking, you know, as you do. Be sun safe, people, be sun safe. And he'd disappear. And then one day I said to him, I go, where do you go at lunchtime every day? And he's like, I'm working. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I just travel. And so I just do a bit of work every day and that pays. And I was like, whoa, that is goals. That is goals. And I never just had the courage to leap. And then when my husband and I got together, I was pushing my husband. I'm like, start a business, start a business, start a business. So my husband started his own business. And then I was constantly like, why don't you do this? And giving him all this advice. And, and then when I had my first son, I got made redundant. And I was, you know, helping my husband a lot with his business. And he said, why don't you help other people with their businesses? So that's when I sort of started coaching, and my business just kind of really took off from there. I was very, very lucky. And, you know, over time, I've just refined and refined and refined, you know, who it is that I serve the best, what it is that I love to teach, and how I love to support people. And so now that, you know, I'm 6 years in business, I'm super, super clear about my dream clients and really what my purpose and offering is. So yeah, it feels really great.
Oh, that's so cool. So one of the things I like to do in this series is kind of paint a picture for all women of business at all different levels of what a business and launching look like for you in the beginning, and what does it look like now?
Yeah, for sure. I love that. So, you know, my business grew as a lot of business, service-based businesses do, to a point where, you know, there's only so many hours in a day. I kept putting my prices up, which is great. But then I was still like, I'm over this. Like, I want to be able to, you know, I'm seeing everyone else doing all their course launches and the big numbers. And I thought, right, I'm going to create a course. So my very first course, I decided to run it, you know, being an accountant, low cost. So I had no I had no Kajabi, I had no, you know, process. I was just like, I've got this thing. If you want to buy my thing, here's my thing. I spoke about it a little bit on my social media. The content I hadn't created, and there was no, like, I was basically said, I'm going to email you the content, and then there'll be a Facebook group where I also post the content.
Yep.
So my first launch, I had 24 people join. Couldn't believe it. Very, very casual, low key. And I was like, right, this is the key to my millions. And then when I launched it the second time, I hired a copywriter. I ran Facebook ads. I'm like, if I can get 24 in, imagine how many I get in when I do it properly. So my second launch, I had 5 people join. And I was absolutely gutted, as anyone who's gone through a you know, failed launch would understand, like that feeling. And I was like, I don't understand it. I've had this excellent copy written. I've got this beautiful sales page. Like, why would, you know, what's going on? And, you know, over the years, I guess I've refined, I've tweaked, I've worked out what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And, you know, now I've got a team of people who support me through my launches. I've obviously got Kajabi and a lot more flow. And again, I think really identifying who it is that I serve, and being really, really clear about my offering. So yeah, you know, I have had $200,000 launches now, which is amazing. But, you know, I think the thing that I've learned is that my audience love high ticket offer. And so I'm really finding that that's who, you know, that's the kind of audience that I attract. I talk a lot about money. I talk a lot about scalability. So yeah, I serve a lot of people across all different stages of business. That sort of is my sweet spot. My hero product is sort of, yeah, helping people to scale from that 6 to 7 figure mark of revenue.
Amazing. How inspiring. I know my audience is absolutely going to love this. So if you're watching us now, pop something in the chat box and say hello. We'd love to hear any questions from you. And if you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay, because we would love to come back and chat and have a conversation with all our peeps about this. So the other thing that I love to do in this series is kind of model out how women in business do easy and fun in business. So do you have any go-tos, like when you go, I just want this to be easy, like what are the things that you do?
Yeah, so definitely outsource. Yeah. And I find this so interesting. You know, I know you hear it again, like outsource. But people always say to me, like, if I hire a VA, they're like, I don't know what my VA would do. And I'm like, what do you mean? My VA does everything for me. And I'm like, I think that learning to outsource and really being ruthless about what it is that you actually do is super, super important. The second thing is really working out how to turn on your money levers. So it's all well and good to say, oh, I'm going to work less hours, but then people are like, well, how do I make money? And for me, that's a bit of a red flag, because I'm like, well, what do you do? Like when you want to bring money in? And, you know, I shared this story on my Instagram this week. I've actually just had veneers done on my teeth. And, you know, it's a big investment to go and get your teeth done. I had these tiny little teeth. And I was like, okay, the repayments are $1,000 a month. How can I create something? And so I thought of an offer that was $1,000 US, which is about 1,400 Australian dollars, which would deliver me the same return after tax. I sent one DM to one person, added that revenue to my bottom line. And for me, I'm like, this is how business can be done with total ease if you allow it to be like that. Mm-hmm. And that is another thing, is I think having the ability to be able to go, cool, I know how to make money. And unfortunately, I find that a lot of business owners don't know how to actually do that. They don't know how to turn on their lever, and they kind of feel a little bit powerless to be able to make more money. But money buys you choices. Money buys you freedom. And, you know, I talk a lot about money. And, you know, I'm not at all a materialistic. I shouldn't even say that. I don't even care if you're a materialistic person. But for me, like, I love being able to buy time. I love being able to hire staff. I love being able to, you know, I've got a cleaner that comes twice a week. I'd love him to come even more. But, you know, I think
goals. So good.
I want even more. But, you know, this is what you can do with money. So it's like, if you're like struggling to go, I want that, but I don't know how to get there. And it's like, well, how do you bring in revenue? How do you go, okay, cool, what's something I can create that I can go, okay, cool. So even when I had my second child, I had this little baby, and I was like, how can I make money? And at the time, you know, I was just doing one-on-one, but I was like, okay, if I do a one-off session with people, and at the time I was only charging $500 for my session, and I'd be like, that pays for a cleaner to come 3 days a week. So I had someone who came, she would help out nannying, and I'm like, it's just a couple of hours of my time, and then I have this money that I can then be able to enjoy things and create freedom and create spaciousness. So it's something that I am, you know, relentlessly pursuing in my business, that I really encourage other people to do. Is it's like continually keep going, what does even more amazing look like? Like, you know, like people hire their cleaner and they're like, oh my gosh, this is gold. Like, and then I'm like, what if they come twice a week? What if you had 2 staff members? What if you had 4 staff members? What if you had, you know, 2 whole days a week where you didn't work at all? Like you can start to play around with these things when you allow yourself to think it's a possibility. And when you have so that's the mindset side. And then the money management side is, well, what am I like? How am I actually going to do this? How am I going to create this situation where this is a possibility for me? So those are the 2 ways that I encourage people to create freedom.
So good. And I know that with outsourcing, like some of my clients and myself, like sometimes we build it up to be this huge thing. And I remember I used to say, when I'm rich, I'm going to get a cook. And then one of my clients actually had this epiphany on one of my calls where she was like, I can hire a meal prep lady. There's this place called I Hate Cooking for $150 a month. And I was like, $150 a month? I don't even need to be rich. I mean, there was a whole other level to that, but like sometimes we just make what's the smallest next step can actually be way more achievable than we think as well.
Oh, I love that, Anthea. And you've hit the nail on the head, because I think that's the thing too, even with hiring, is people go, I don't have enough money to hire a full-time person. I'm like, you don't need to hire a full-time person. Like, start with someone casually, and then, just start outsourcing. Like, I know when my VA first started, I'm sure she only did like a couple of hours a week, like 2 or 3 hours a week. And then now she's an integrated part of my business. But that's to your point, like, start small. And with the cleaner, like, people go, oh my gosh, I can't believe your cleaner comes twice a week. I'm like, I can assure you it did not start like this. Like,
totally.
It started small, and then, over time I'm like, okay, cool. We can afford to stretch that a little bit more. And, it's just continually, and again, being available to it. Like, people aren't even available to the idea that this is a possibility for them. And, I'm nothing fancy. I'm just a normal person like anyone else who was like, this is what I want to create in my life. And that's what I want to show people, is like, you don't need to be the most eloquent, young, whatever your stories are about what someone needs to be. It's just about going, this is something that can happen for me.
Yeah, and I love the part that you touched on where you were like, and then when you have it, what's next? It's like, what else? Yeah, it's like allowing yourself. What else do you want?
Yeah, and most people don't allow themselves to dream. Like, most people, when I have this course. Well, I'm not running it anymore, but it used to be called $1 Million Money Management.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that someone joined, and she goes, I don't want to make $1 million. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I want to make 300. And it seemed so inconceivable to her, or she had stories that, like, that's greedy, or that's a lot of work, or whatever it might be, that she couldn't even say that she wanted that. And I'm like, who doesn't want to make more money?
Yeah.
Money creates freedom. Money creates us being able to help other people. It allows us to, whatever it is that you care about, you can create. Obviously money can't buy everything, but it allows you choices. So most people won't allow themselves to think it's a possibility.
Yeah, and then there's all the money stories that come up, like, I'm going to have to work hard for that kind of money, and I'm going to be burnt out 10 times over if I make that kind of money. And yeah, absolutely cool. And so, can you talk us through? I would love to hear like one of your launch or business challenges that you had, like a doozy, and how did you come out the other side?
Oh gosh, I've got so many. I like to be really open about all, and I've got a podcast called the Clare Wood Podcast, and I talk about, like, I love to bring on inspiring stories and say, hey, this is what's possible, but I also like to share a lot of the shit really that's going on in my business and life, because it's so easy to see, oh, she spent $100,000, and it's like, oh, guys, I want you to be super clear about exactly what's going on behind this along the way. Like, that's a cool headline, but there's a lot of times when shit just does not go to plan. So, truthfully, it's something that I still haven't mastered in my business, is low ticket launches. So I really struggle. And I think because I've spent so much time building an audience of people who are at a certain stage of business, I struggle to sell things at a low price point. And my audience, like, when I launched my mastermind and my private coaching, like, people love to jump in on that. But some of my lower ticket offerings, like, I've created these amazing, and I'm like, why is everyone not jumping on this? This is freaking amazing. And, it is really important for me. I want to create an accessible business that, that I can help people at all stages of business as well. I don't want it to be this, only for a certain group of people. So that's something that like it's something that I really struggle with. The way that I have navigated through it is that I've flipped my thinking. I flipped my mindset about it. So the first time that I had 5 people join my course, after, I had the 24, then had the 5, and I was a wreck. Like I was bawling my eyes out. I was like, it's probably the lowest, one of the lowest I've ever felt in my entire life. It felt like I was a massive failure. I was seeing all of these people around me having these massive launches, and I'm like, what's gone wrong? Like I've done all the right things. And, the funny thing is my last launch that I did, I only had 5 people join as well. Right? So a couple of years later, fast forward, I still only had 5 people join my last course launch. And this launch, like I was like, yeah, bloody, I've got 5 people in here. And every single person that paid, I'd be like, thank you for joining. Thank you for choosing to spend your hard-earned dollars with me. I'd be like, I hope that this course is the beginning of an entire change in your life. And I went from being in a place of, only 5 people join my course, why does no one like me? To being like, oh my gosh, like 5 people have chosen me.
Yeah.
Of all of the ways they could have spent their money. And the other thing is, I know that my clients work with me again and again and again. So the people that joined my last round of this course, again, there was only 5 in the last round, but 2 of them went and joined my mastermind, which is a high ticket offering. And, they've like, it's way more than I could have ever anticipated out of one particular launch. Mm-hmm. So this is the other thing is I'm like, when you're living in lack, you're living in ego. I wouldn't want to show videos of my calls because I'm like, people are going to see and they know my brand and they think I should have a lot more people by now. And I'm like, Claire, get over yourself. Bloody 5 people are here.
Who is this about?
Who is this about? And I'm like, at the end of the day, like when you stop making it all about your ego and about all the people that I used to look at my, why are these people not? It's like, forget about it. Focus on the people who have. And you know what? If you serve the hell out of them, they become raving fans of your product, business, brand, and they then buy from you again and again. And I know it sounds easy to say in theory. I remember the first time a coach of mine said that to me. She's like, focus on your ocean. I'm like, easy for you because you're making so much money. And now I'm like, I genuinely am like, that's how I think. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like if I have a course and 1 person joins, I'm like, they don't care. They're bloody ecstatic because they get more time with me. So it's really shifting. And that's what's changed for me over the years. When I have launches that don't go to plan now, I'm not this crying in the corner, pity party, why doesn't anyone like me? I'm like, oh, okay. Firstly, what's the lessons I can learn? And there's always lessons. Go out and ask them and say, why didn't you buy? And secondly, it's like going, right, anyone that shows up, even if 1 person shows up, even if no one shows up, guess what? I bloody did it. I'm proud of myself and I'm going to look after the people who come and work with me.
Oh, so much yes. Hashtag nodding, as Tash would say. Like, I love having the conversations with women. Like, what are you going to make this launch mean? You only got those 5 people, but like, what do you actually get to choose what you're going to make this mean? And the same epiphany that you had, I think it's one of those things that maybe we have to have the epiphany for ourselves, because I had the same. I was going for 100 signups in some webinar. I don't even remember which one it was. And only 30 people had signed up, and I was, woe is me. And then I was like, 30 people are willing to hang out with me right now. 30. If I walked into a room and had 30 people who were like, yes, Anthea, I want to come and hang out with you, would I be like, that's not good enough, I'm out of here? No.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it does kind of, and again, I know this sounds so cliche, but like, I'm honestly so glad that I had that experience because experiences, because I feel like it's made me such a better mentor, because now when people are talking to me about these things, I'm not like, oh, just be positive. Like, I'm like, guys, I've been there. I can't tell you how many times I've been, but I'm like, I have been able to move to a place where this isn't, to your point, like I'm not making it mean more than what it is. This is not about me. It's literally about, about your audience and learning lessons.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I would say is that it's not a race. And when you're in it, like now, like think about that time when you only had 30 people and you're like, what was that thing? And I bet you at the time you're like, this is the last thing I'm ever creating, and why is people not sure? And then you look back and you're like, I think I had a webinar thing that not many people came to. In the big scheme of life, and that's the other thing that I'm like, it's not a race. When you get to the destination, I remember when I was waiting for my engagement ring, and I'd sit there and I'd stare at everyone in every meeting. I'm like, why is everyone else engaged and not me? And now, like, 8, I don't even know how many years later it is, whatever, 7, 8 years later, I'm like, would it have mattered if it was a year later or 2 years? Who cares? I still got there. But at the time it was like, I want it now. And it's the same with business. Like, I'm like, what? So you become rich 6 months later. Like, if you have the faith and you keep doing the work, like, it's going to happen. Just hang in there.
Totally. And you're still allowed to feel disappointed when something like that happens. But it's kind of, I like to think of it, it's like inspiring people to move on quicker. Like, choose their meaning quicker. And there is another side. And I've always got a cracker as well that I share with my clients. And I've got this weird innate ability to get more people signing up to my thing, whatever it is, after the event, because I'm way more pumped about it. And so I'm like, you can always do the Anthea trick, still get more people signed up afterwards. Like,
exactly.
And it just goes to show that, like, there's not only one way, and the more you choose those kind of not necessarily positive meanings, but resourceful meanings, the more you're kind of open to different opportunities.
Yeah. 100%. I love that.
So cool. So what do you reckon your non-negotiable supports are? Like, they're probably different now to what they were in the beginning. Maybe you could do in the beginning non-negotiables and now non-negotiables.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting watching my launching, how I do it. For me, so much of it is energy. And I find for me that whenever I start going into, I'll go live, I'll do more stuff. Like, I find there's something about that energy that does not resonate with my audience, and it also doesn't feel good for me. So for me, my most important thing is that I'm like I'm launching next week. I'm doing like a 3-day training thing. And, I've got friends of mine who are like, no, we can't hang out. We can't do anything for the next 3 weeks because of what, and I'm like, a launch happens to me, and it's not this big, like, I'm not getting to the end of my launch and like lying in a corner, like recovering from, like, I'm like, yeah, I launched yesterday, like it closed doors last night. That for me has become a really, and I'm not saying that's right for everyone, but for me, I hated getting to the end of a launch and feeling like I poured my heart and soul out. Like, I get to the end of a launch now and I'm like, I'm literally not even tired. So if a launch didn't go to plan, next week I could be like, oh, cool, I'll bring on an extra private coaching client to make up for the revenue. And there's no part of me that needs to be recovering for a week. And so, I don't have any launch rituals, like where I'm going and getting massages or anything. Like, for me, it's become just part of, and, I brought someone new into my team, and she goes, oh, your social post didn't go out on Thursday. And I was like, yeah, it was late at night. I just didn't post it. And she was like, right. And I'm like, but that feels so good to me. Like, it does not feel good to me being like, I have to post, where's the post? Like, I'm just like, it's a big deal, like a post didn't go out or an email didn't go out. Like,
totally.
In the big scheme of life, it's not no one's gonna die. And that's a very different way of thinking to a lot of launches. I'm not saying that's the right way, but for me, maintaining my energy. So I still go out and socialize during my launches. I've had like closed doors and people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're out. And I'm like, why? What am I meant to be doing? Like, going live like 12 hours of the day. And I'm like,
my launch.
Yeah, I get to the end and the next time I'm like, oh, cool, someone joined at the last minute. That's awesome. Like, big warm welcome. But that has been transformational for me, is being looking after me, but not in like the traditional, like getting a massage and like it just being like my way of looking after me is like, oh, I didn't post because I didn't feel like it. Yeah. So
and I'm not going to beat myself up about that. Yeah.
And I honestly think there's something about that energy for me that my audience finds really magnetic. And some launches, I feel like showing up all day, every day. And if it feels great and I feel like doing it, but I can quite often be mid-launch and I'll just disappear for a day off my stories or whatever. And it's not that I'm crying. It's not, I'm just like, I just can't think of anything to say today. I just won't post. And then other days I might have, like today's a day where I've posted, I don't know how many stories already today, because I'm just having a day where heaps of fun things happening and I want to share a lot. So that's for me how I manage it. And that's, yeah.
I love it. And thank you for sharing that, because I feel like you personally inspired me, because I've just started a launch last week and I love that. Like, it's just a everyday business activity. And it just happens to be that's what my focus is right now, as opposed to, oh my God, I'm launching. Super cool. That's really cool. I really love that. Okay, cool. And so knowing a little bit more about how we do things here, are there any women in business that you reckon I should interview and get the behind the scenes on in their business? It's cool if you can't see now.
I have to suggest my friend Steph Taylor. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's a bit of a launch queen, and I love. I think that she's got so many great insights into how many launches she had that didn't go to plan, and then launches that have gone to plan. And I always learn a lot from her about the way to think about things in launching, rather than making it such a big deal. It's just like, yeah. It's an unemotional, have a look at the stats, understand what went on, and learn the lessons for next time. And, watching her growth has been super inspiring. And I think that, I think that she's someone who's got some cool lessons to share along the way.
Oh, I shall hit her up. Thanks so much for that. She sounds amazing. Cool. Well, I would love for you to share, thank you so much for sharing so openly. I have absolutely loved this chat. I know you've got your podcast. What's it called? The Clare Wood podcast. Nice and easy.
Yeah, very creative.
I'm going to go and have a listen this arvo. But is there anything else that you want to share that you're promoting at the moment, both freebies and paid offers? No limits here.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. I'm doing a 3-day workshop next week, which I called 6 Figures Now What? And the thinking behind it is that I've seen a lot of people hit that they're hitting the early stages of, where they reach capacity, which is like what I said happened to me. Couldn't fit any more clients in. So I created this training. It's over 3 days, and it's really about what does that mean? Do you want to scale? How do you scale? So the 3 days is really covering growing in a profit-focused way. It's about unlocking what is possible, and really about growing in a way that feels good for you. In full transparency, inside that training, I will be talking about my mastermind, which is the final intake that I'm doing until Q2 next year. So but it's like my training, I'm quite a direct, you can see I share a lot, so it's not like it's a big sales pitch. It really is value add. And I know that people have come to trainings of mine before and implemented not joined programs, but just implemented what we've done in the free training and had really big wins or shifts. So if you want to find out more about it, just hit me up on Instagram at Clare_Wood_coach, or if you do listen to the potty, I'm talking about it on there as well.
Amazing. And I'll come back and share a couple of links for everyone so that they can come and check you out. Thank you so much. It's been amazing. I feel like I'm just going to go down a beautiful rabbit hole of your content and check you out some more. So inspirational. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Anthony. Thank you for asking me to come along and chat today. It's been wonderful to meet you, and look forward to chatting to you soon.
Okay, amazing. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Bye.